So, so this image that you see up here, you can obviously clearly see a rainbow. I wonder if you can see the second rainbow. We were so blessed to see a double rainbow. It's kind of hard to see in this picture, but it's there. What was really amazing, and again, this was in Galway, right out, pretty much outside of our room. And at one point, that rainbow, seriously, was probably, the end of the rainbow was probably 2 or 3 feet in front of us in the water. I mean, literally. So, naturally, I said, hey, Greg, go get the gold. And Greg said, what, are you kidding me? You know, I don't know if it was the rushing water or the freezing cold or the wind. I don't know, but he absolutely refused to do that for us. It was really, really amazing, though. It was really a very beautiful visual. Could you turn that light back on now? Thanks. So, on the second day of our trip, we ventured into Northern Ireland. Now, I have to say that growing up in the 60s and the 70s, I never thought that I would want to or that it would be possible. And most of you, if you're over 40-ish or a history buff, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. It was not a very safe place. Well, it was an amazing experience, and we really enjoyed. We only got to spend a day there, and it was fabulous. What they do is they have tour guides that take you in, people who actually live in North Ireland and have lived there for some time, and talk to you about the history and show you all kinds of different things. So here's kind of a brief story of all of that if you're not aware. About 90 years ago, Ireland was split into two. And people living there had gone to war with their British rulers. And the South became a separate state, and they're called the Republic of Ireland. So the breakup led to decades of violence in the northern part of Ireland, which remained a part of the UK. So they refer to, even to this day, they refer to it as the Troubles. Now, I like to reframe things and make things really positive. However, I think it's a stretch to call what happened over there troubles. It was a stretch for me anyway. A 3-decade conflict, and that was between the nationalists, who mainly self-identified as the Catholics, and the Unionists, who mainly identified as the Protestants. What I found really interesting is they will tell you without thought that this is not a religious conflict. They will tell you it's a political one. However, it was, and still is to some extent, a division between the Catholics and the Protestants. Now, they say that usually it was deemed to have ended with an agreement they made on Good Friday in 1998. And most of the violence since then has absolutely come to a halt. However, the Troubles that they talk about involved riots, mass protests, thousands of deaths, and thousands of injuries. And that ultimately led to segregation and the creation of what they call non-go areas, which means Catholics can't go here and Protestants can't go there. So even today, and I found this fascinating, education in Northern Ireland is still largely segregated. The schools in Northern Ireland are predominantly Protestant, and the majority of the Catholic children go to schools that are maintained by the Catholic Church. And so they're teaching differently. 90% of the children in Northern Ireland still go to separate faith schools. Isn't that amazing? As I see it, segregation's not the most efficient way to bring people together, right? It doesn't unite people. It doesn't foster that understanding, that getting along, getting to know your neighbor, or the opportunity to recognize the oneness of who we are, the oneness of all of humanity. Many of those children are still taught to this day that idea of separation, the other, the us versus them mentality. However, the tour guide we had was quite a character, when you could understand him, right? And he has a teenage daughter. Now, he was born and raised in Belfast and still lives there to this day. And he has children. He was telling us about his teenage daughter. And she had said to him at one time, you know, he said, "Where are you going?" She was going out, and he said, "Where are you going?" And she told him, and he goes, "Oh, you can't go there. It's not safe." And she goes, "Dad, things have changed. It's different now." But isn't it interesting how we hold on to those old thoughts, how we hold on to those old beliefs and ideas, right? He was so stuck in, "Oh, you can't go there," because he couldn't. And she just kind of laughed and went off, and everything was fine. It gave him, what he told us is it really gave him a great deal of hope for the future generation there, right? These children are growing up and seeing things a little bit differently. They're beginning to experience life in a more evolved way. They even have friends of the other religion. And that is a big deal. Isn't that crazy? That's not something here, anyway, that, you know, it's kind of baffling, isn't it? Nelson Mandela wrote this: "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." Isn't that true? We can love because that's who we are, and to hate, we have to think. It takes emotion, it takes energy, it takes thought. So because of all the troubles, in 1969, they built peace walls. They call them peace lines or walls. And they were originally built as temporary structures, and they only planned on using them for about a 6-month period. So the purpose of these walls, or these lines, was to minimize the intercommunal violence between the Catholics and the Protestants, the non-religious conflict, right? These walls range from, did you switch it? Yeah, this is a picture of the wall we went to. The walls range in length from a few hundred miles to over 3 miles long. And they are about 25 feet high. So it's not easy to get over into that other area. Some of those walls actually have gates in them. Some of those gates are policed, and they open and unlock them during the day and then relock them at night. And that way you can't get through. And because those walls have become so effective, they've become wider, they've become longer over the years and more permanent. In the early 1990s, there were 18 of these walls. And in 2017, they said there were at least, and probably over, 59. And it's not a very large country. In total, those walls stretch over 21 miles, which is pretty amazing. And if you could switch to the next slide, thanks. We had the opportunity to go to one of those peace walls. And so many people signed those walls. It was hard to find a place, which was beautiful, to write something. And so this is where we wrote, It's drippy because it was pouring rain. And our message was embrace humanity. And we thought that was just obviously a perfect thing to write, coming from here, from Common Ground. So what we're going to do this morning is we are going to create our own peace wall. Told you last week we're going to do something way cool this morning, and that's what we're going to do. So we're actually going to write on that temporary wall that's behind us. Before we do that, what I'd like you to do is kind of just sit back and close your eyes for a moment and think of a message of peace. What message do you want the world to hear? What message would you like to make a difference in this world? Words are powerful, so powerful. When we speak them, they're powerful. When we write them, they're powerful. And I want you to feel that word, that phrase of peace that comes to you. And I would like, when you're ready, to get up. Gary's going to meet you at the back wall where Nancy's sitting, and he's got some permanent markers. And I would like you to write your message back there on the wall. It feels like it just goes out, and it does. It does. We speak it, it goes out. We write it, it goes out. And you know what? That's what we're called to do, right? Is be that. Be that peace. Be that love. And share it with the world. And if we do nothing else in our lifetime, we've done enough, right? Because by our very nature, we love, we care, and we want the highest and the best for everyone. That's who we are. That's who we are at our core. There's a tremendous innate love in each and every single human being, even though sometimes it seems like hatred and unkindness is everywhere. I believe it's because that hatred, that unkindness is what gets attention, right? Love doesn't get quite as much attention as the other. Marianne Williamson said this: hatred has no problem announcing itself and its intentions to the world. So we need to change that. We need to change that to love announcing itself and sending out its intentions to the world. Not by opposing hate, by continuing to love and by being the expression of that love in our everyday life. Thich Nhat Hanh was exactly right. We need people who can sit still and be able to smile, to walk peacefully on this planet. We need people like that, and it's true, you are that person. Each and every single one of you are that person to walk out there in the world with that peace and that love. It's important for us to remember that all of our situations and our experiences that we encounter on a daily basis are opportunities for us to love unconditionally. Now, sometimes they don't show up real pretty. However, remember that is an opportunity to show that love, to be that love. Everything we encounter throughout our day is a spiritual opportunity to extend the love that we are. It's an opportunity to live more fully our truth. Every event in our life is part of the divine curriculum that's set up for our personal growth, our personal healing, as well as the growth and the healing of the planet. We have a big responsibility, each and every single one of us. Love is literally the power of God alive on this planet. Our responsibility is to take action that brings that love to life, because that's what's within us. And we do that by making love the organizing principle behind everything we do, everything we say, everything that we are. And whenever we improve the world on any level, whether it's just a simple smile, it's infused with the energy with which we do it. Do we do it with love? Do we do it with, oh, I have to? Oh, this is something I'm required to do? Or do we do it with our heart? Do we do it with passion, with love? That's what that act is infused with. And so our true gift to ourselves, to others, and to the world lies within who we are at our core. How we behave in the world, how we are showing up in the world. We can always ask life, what is it I can do next? What is it I can do for somebody? What is the next right and loving thing that I can do to make this day, this person, this world a better place? When you feel guided to do something, to say something, take Nike's advice, right? Just do it. Don't process it. Don't think about it. Just do it. If it comes up for a reason, right? Silently, as you go through your day, bless everyone you come into contact with. Send them that love. And watch how it affects you. And it also will affect them. Building genuine connection and deep community among people of the world is the historical task of our generation. Every generation in this room, and I absolutely believe that. Any time that we can walk into a situation with a higher sense of why we're there, we are bringing in and sharing that light of unconditional love. That sense of sacredness, that sense of oneness. And we are helping, as we do that, we are helping to heal the world and reunite hearts. So this morning I'm going to close with this invitation. The invitation to not only remember that you are a blessing to the world, I want to remind you to be that blessing in the world. Thank you so much for being here this morning while I shared this truth as I understand it.